Friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. It is uncharacteristically warm today, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're somebody who uses centigrade, it is like 25, 26, which is like most of the world. Bruh. And since it's feeling like spring, it's time for the top 10 cologne fragrances for spring 2026. These ones will have you smelling amazing up until it gets insanely hot in summer and you basically just start bubbling and melt into a little puddle and wish that you no longer existed because it feels like hell outside. Huh. But before we get there, let's stay positive. Everything I talked to you about linked in the description. Let's get started with this oversized bottle from Arabiat Prestige. It's like QVC style. What you're gonna have here is a 6 ounce, that's 180 milliliters size bottle. Now, the reason it's larger is because it has more in there. And see, when you got more, that means you can spray more before you run out, if you understand. This one is Rais, but not the original Rais. No, this is Twilight Aura, because nothing says Twilight like teal. And the fragrance itself, to me, actually does not make sense at all in terms of that flanker name, because it smells like Herba Pura. Yep. So it's another curious case of it's named this, but it doesn't smell like that. Tropical fruit bowl explosion, solid performance, and you do get a whole lot of it. I'm not the biggest fan of Herba Pura at all, but I know a lot of people out there absolutely adore the fragrance for spring and summer. This right here, if you're looking for a cheap one, that gets you a lot of bang for your buck. Just a towering bottle. And then also Armav's Valère. This is part of their Lions Club collection. It smells similar to PDM's Sedley. I love that. It's got a heavy metal clasp here that just kind of... I won't do it again, I'm sorry, I apologize. But it's kind of hard to get it in there sometimes. It's interesting looking, it looks nice, but sometimes, So yeah, it's gonna give you that Sedley kind of vibe, fresh out of the shower gel sweetness. Super fresh, a little bit aromatic as well. Quality, nicely done. Now you may say, well, those two fragrances, the two honorable mentions, are those really spring fragrances? I think I would wear those during the summertime. Fair. When it comes to spring, for me personally, it kind of is a wide range of temperatures. At the beginning of spring, it's usually a little bit cooler, and then toward the end of spring, it starts to get pretty hot. And so I've got stuff that kind of covers all of that. Really, for me, spring overlaps a bit with summer and fall. You can wear a lot of things interchangeably. All right, top 10, let's go. We're gonna kick things off with this right here. Fragrance World Neroli Riviera. This packaging could not look more different than what it smells similar to, which is Neroli Portofino. That looks like that. This looks like this. These don't look the same. This is, I would say, without a doubt, on the Mount Rushmore of holy crap, they legitimately just copied literally everything. It would be like this, and then, you know, maybe this over here. Well, what does that look like? I don't know. But yeah, it's very, very similar looking. So it does obviously smell quite similar to Neroli Portofino, but I would say that Neroli Riviera here is going to be soapier. It's got that soap, brother. That clean white soap, that like hand soap with white florals. It's got that vibe very strongly. Obviously very, very clean, like ultra unbelievably clean. Classy, easy to wear, nice office fragrance, good casual fragrance in general. And it does definitely make me think of spring. And to be fair, Fragrance World, not the only ones that have done a very similar bottle style like this. Actually, Lattafa did as well. Or more specifically, Maison Alhambra, which is Lattafa. They had one called Porto Neroli, but they had to change their bottle styles and everything. That being said, you can still find these right here for dirt cheap. I think this one is like $15 or something. Just do keep in mind, again, it is soapy, okay? So don't buy that and then be all confused, like, oh, yeah. Why is this so clean? Maison Alhambra Luxe Bold. Yeah, this right here smells similar to Bleecker Street by Bond Number 9, which of course smells similar to Purple Label by Ralph Lauren. So it's a clone of a clone. Ish. Bond Number 9 supporters up in arms. No! Purple Label is totally different than Bleecker Street. Okay, if you say so. I do love Bleecker Street though. There's no shade at all toward that fragrance. Absolutely adore this stuff. And this is a really nicely done, cheap alternative to that one. Obviously it is quite green, hence the bottle. Has a nice blueberry note off the top, a grassy note as well. As it dries down, you get more of a suede that comes out. And to me, Bleecker Street has always been like a go-to quintessential springtime fragrance, in the niche world anyway. Does it come across maybe a little synthetic? Sure. Does it smell fantastic to me though? Yes. And that one and Green Irish Tweed have kind of always been there for me, you know, like one of my just go-tos. Puts me in the right frame of mind for spring, so got to include that. Love the stuff. Let's go with another Lattafa up next. This one is Anashama Caprice. And this guy right here, it may not look like it, but it is a clone of La Nuit de l'Homme Blue Electrique. Rest in peace, Blue Electrique, at least in the US. Been unable to find that bad boy basically 2 months after it came out until now. Interestingly enough, YSL getting back on the La Nuit de l'Homme train. Don't know why I had that pause there. La Nuit de l'Homme. They're coming out with a new version of La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Parfum. So, you know, it's probably not gonna happen, but could they maybe revive Blue Electrique? Technically, yes, and that would be awesome. I'm just saying, if anybody at YSL, you know, maybe thinking about doing that, they should do it. Ooh, stuff smells nice. It's aged now, it has matured. Excellent. So Blue Electrique, if you never smelled that one, it really is honestly as simple as it sounds. Basically take La Nuit de l'Homme and keep the main structure, the scent profile, but then freshen it up and kind of turn it into a blue fragrance. Really, 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 really nicely done. This stuff today smells way better than when I first got it in. Nice sweetness, nice warmth, some spiciness coming through, but then that freshness off the top that gives it that daily wearability. Really good. Really good. Number 7, Samaya Reverie Aqua. So this is one of those ones where you'd be like, well, that's not a typical spring fragrance, you know? And it's really not. It's maybe more so like a fall fragrance, a lot of people would say. But early spring, when it's not really warm out yet, this is a good one. Because today is abnormally warm. When I'm filming this, it would usually be like 20 degrees less. At least according to the average temperature for today. Annually, I should say. So this one right here is the Valentino Uomo Born in Roma, specifically Intense. In terms of notes, it has cardamom, it has lavender, it has amber, vanilla, also a bit of cinnamon in there. So you have a blend of warm spices, freshness, and sweetness kind of all coming together here. Really good quality for the price point, and it does have a magnetic cap. There is one more magnetic cap here, so it's not the only one, but still, magnetic cap, extra 1 point. Then we've got this from Rayhan, kind of going back into warm weather territory, Pacific Aura. So that's the second Aura here, And this one is green, it's fresh, it's really brisk. Smells similar to Pacific Chill by Louis Vuitton. So you've got citrus off the top, you have mint, that's gonna be that big green blast that you get when you first spray this on. Black currant, basil, fig, a lot of other things going on quality-wise. Really, really, really nicely done. To me, this is probably the best Rayhan out there. They have gotten a lot better with most of their releases, like the early ones, a lot of those are kind of iffy, a little bit suspect. But as time has gone on, they've gotten better, which that's kind of what you would want to see. Like time goes on, they get crappier. Go, oh, cool, cool. They're not learning anything. I appreciate that. But they've gotten a lot more solid, a lot better in terms of quality, especially. And like I said, this is probably the best one overall. It just does everything correctly. Performance is pretty good as well, especially for a fresher type scent. So this one, yes, a lot of people are gonna think of it more as like middle of summer, but I think because of that big pop off the top that has that kind of green, refreshing opening, makes me think of spring just as much. All right, we are at the top 5. And number 5 is perfect for spring, in my opinion. Perfect! Perfect! But before we hit that one, I would like to give you some perfect codes. You can use these anytime that you shop at any of these stores that you see here. The JOMASHOP codes only work within the JOMASHOP app, and they do change every quarter. So make sure that you stay up to date with the correct codes. These ones, if it's not at the time frame it says, will be different. Also have codes for Fragflex, the Perfume Box, Beauty House, even Lucky Scent. So anytime you shop at these stores, use those codes. Number 5. Elixir Demeter. This used to be a pain in the butt to find in the US. Basically, you had to be friends with eBay and its search function and just doing that a lot and probably getting ripped off. Yeah, so that's cool. Nowadays, you can find it at the shop known as Joma for 45 bones. So that's nice. Oh, pressurized atomizer. Cap heavy, but no magnet. I'm just playing. I don't even think that the way they have this styled a magnetic cap would work, but looks pretty slick in terms of just the overall presentation, the glass of the bottle and everything. Probably the classiest of the bunch. And this one smells like Torino 21. So you're gonna get a metric butt ton. That is the correct scientific term of mint when you spray this on, along with a little bit of citrus, of course, basil, blackcurrant, lavender, as well, some of the other notes in there. It is really well done in terms of the quality. Actually, most of the elixirs that I've smelled, I haven't smelled all of them, but most of them have been really, really like top notch, in line with what you would expect from the other really big name houses. One thing I think they may run into in terms of a problem, potentially, maybe not, but one issue that I could see with Elixir is the bottle. You know, it's the same with all of them and it does look really good, but eventually you go, huh, how do you differentiate, you know? That is a problem for another day, I suppose. Torino 21, one of the absolute best dupes out there. Number 4 is Wadi, Maison Esrar. Got a cool presentation. Looks like a gap just kind of getting cut in there. Blah, blah. And not really one of the hype beasts from the house. Quite sweet, almost like a tropical drink when you spray it on. Coconut, pineapple right off the top, vanilla, tonka as it dries down. So just, you know, a little more sweetness. Really good longevity, very good projection. It smells similar to Paradise Garden by Jean-Paul Gaultier. And Paradise Garden, as far as the JPG Le Beau fragrances, is my favorite for springtime specifically. They did just come out with Le Beau Narcisse, and also, of course, last year they came out with Flower Edition. But I actually put Paradise Garden still above both of those. I think it smells better and is better suited, especially, as I said, for spring. And I almost questioned if they're even gonna bother with dupes of those two, of Le Beau Narcisse and Flower Edition. I guess we'll see. Wadi, easily one of the best from Maison Esrar, even if it's not talked about as much as stuff like Mango Ice or Vanguard. Number 3 is kind of a weird one. It is Dunescape. This is Armaf. And I've talked about this just about every time I brought this up because you kind of have to. It's not weird in terms of the fragrance, like how it smells. There's nothing strange about that. It does have more of a yellow sheen to it, so it looks like a heavier fragrance. And with the name and the sand and all this stuff, it looks like it's gonna be a really ambery, like cinnamon sort of vibe, you know, maybe leather and oud and stuff like that. But then you actually spray the stuff on and it smells like YSLY mixed with afternoon swim. So it's just one of those deals where you have a fragrance and the name, you know, kind of like this one, but maybe even more so, doesn't necessarily match what you're actually getting. And as I said, it has that Y personality to it, you know, that fresh meat sweet, that nice longevity and projection and everything, but then it has an additional injection of freshness from the afternoon swim side of things. Just makes a really interesting scent profile, a hybrid once again. I say once again because they've become more popular here recently. Actually, one of the ones coming up is a hybrid. One of the best new releases from Armaf, even if it doesn't necessarily match up super well with what you would expect. Number 2, Arabia Prestige Aristo. So this one right here is Ingenious Ginger. Ooh. Even though if you look at the bottle, it looks more like Le Male Elixir, right? Doesn't this just look like half the Le Male Elixir clones out there? They get this similar kind of vibe going on. So yeah, Ingenious Ginger, Goldfield and Banks, but it does not have as much of like an aggressive ginger off the top. It's smoothed out quite a bit. You have more vanilla that comes out here. Of course, citrus alongside that ginger. Some musk as it dries down. Really, really good longevity. Sticks around on skin for a long, long time, especially for a fresher type fragrance, and solid projection as well. So this one is really good like during that transitional period when it's not quite cold or cool and it's not hot yet either. Gonna bring us to number 1, Linked Freedom Afnan. So this is myself, YSL myself, mixed with the Most Wanted parfum. And so it basically gives you that best of both worlds. It leans closer to the myself side of things, so very fresh, clean, has that kind of laundry-esque vibe to it, the orange blossom coming through. Then as it dries down, more of that warmth and sweetness comes out from the Azzaro side of things. And because of how this is constructed, basically you can use it just whenever you want during spring. Early spring, doesn't matter, late spring, you know, in the middle of spring, whatever. Daily wear safe, super versatile, number one. So there we go, that's the lineup. Bunch of different options here. Some stuff better for late spring, some for early spring, but realistically, you can wear any of these at any time during spring. Just adjust your sprays. If you want it to project more, spray more. If you want it to project less, spray less. Super simple. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. I hope you have a great spring, unless you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And then, I guess enjoy your fall. I hope it's a nice one. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.